Schmidt and Zelenkovic. Also, we've seen Valentin Tivard retire and Alexander Dimas with Louis Welch getting pushed off track. Kryptonite had to replace his front wing and currently is running miles behind, about 26 seconds behind anybody else. So quite a few changes here. Yeah, pretty crazy race. But so far, it's been pretty close.
I'm hoping it's much better now. Thank you for bearing with me. It does, yeah, these things happen. Not the end of the world. Better to do it during the social races than during the actual races. Yeah, so we go back into it. I'm really hoping it's better. There's not really much more I can do. I'll try and sort it out. So when we're actually doing commentary, it's not the end of the world. I can see now it does still look very choppy. But yeah, Scyther has inherited the lead. I'll let you quickly recover it.
Yeah, so Scyther in the lead. Very nice move from Scyther, I have to say, all down on one straight, which is very good. That came straight off of the virtual safety car restart, which is very interesting that it started down on the pit straight, but very good. He's getting out about half a second lead, which isn't much, but at the moment, that's actually the biggest lead we've had all race, which I do give it to him there. A gap between Yannick Schmidt and Ben Marples, about just over a second now, but we're seeing a few gaps open up. Then behind between Wilson Hall and Andres Franco, over a 2-second gap. So there's obvious differences in pace between the grid, but it's very open. And here comes Miller Meyer. No, he doesn't. He might go for it in on the second straight with DRS. Is he going to get the better exit? Yes, he does. He's using overtake. He is going for it. Down on the straight. Going into turn 4. Is he going to go for it? He just gets cut off there. And I believe I missed some action further up front. I believe Drake Dempsey just got ahead of Ben Marples for P4. Not sure what went on there. Sorry for everybody missing that big move.
Right, so, I've made the car noises a bit louder. A few teething issues. Obviously, it's still choppy. I'm really hoping you guys can still put up with it. It won't be like this again. It is just a one-off. So, I mean, try and enjoy the racing as much as you can.
All drivers off. Franco
Yep.
went wide. He went way too deep on the brakes. It just looked like he just went straight. It actually just looked like he sort of gave up. So he's now lost out a lot of places, and he's down to 15.
Yep, in the meantime, Scyther looking very close on the back of Timo Zelenkovic. Does look like he's going to be eyeing up a move potentially quite soon. Heading into the last corner. Still very close. And
Something's
we'll see what he can do.
Something's happened.
What has happened?
Look at Andres Franco. He's full on the throttle, and he's just not getting the speed he wants. He's almost full on the throttle, and he's not getting the speed he wants. But even on the straight,
I don't know. But in the meantime, Scyther is going down the inside of Timo Zelenkovic and has inherited the new lead.
Again.
Turn 1. He's got it again. I feel like this is going to be a battle that continues the whole race, which is great, because it's what we love to see.
Yeah, but of course, I do have to say, Yannick Schmidt, he's disappeared into the distance slightly. He's not really in it, as we see Andres Franco becomes the 4th victim of today's race. I'm just kidding. He's the 4th driver to DNF. Disappointing that it's only been 8 laps and we've had 4 retirees, so 1 retiree per 2 laps. But that's okay. It's not the worst. But Yannick Schmidt, actually, Drake Dempsey's caught up and he's within a second again. So this bit of battling is helping Drake Dempsey to close up, and same for Ben Marples as well. He's closing up on top of that. But as I was going to say, Yannick Schmidt, he's kind of gone into the distance slightly. He's not making any moves. He was almost there on Zelenkovic after Scyther made the move. He was right up close behind Zelenkovic, but he just chose not to make the move. There's a big mistake from Zelenkovic through the long right-hander. But yeah, Yannick Schmidt just seems to be going safe, possibly waiting for a bigger move to happen between these front two, but he is dropping off quite a bit. His pace has dropped off by about 4/10 from his pace even on lap 4, so he definitely needs to bring back his pace a bit because he is falling off, and Drake Dempsey is catching him at a rapid rate.
Yeah, so Timo Zelenkovic once again going for the move for P1, and he's done it before the braking zone. So definitely seeing a lot of position changes from these guys. In the meantime, Scyther has to settle for P2 unless he wants to try and have a go at re-inheriting the lead. He does have DRS, and he's very close to the back of Timo Zelenkovic, and he is going to potentially dive down. No, he backs out for a move into turn 4. Yeah, so I know the issue. It's high CPU usage. Unfortunately, I don't know. There's settings that I need to change. So yeah, I'm just not gonna address it for the rest of this and just hope that it's not too horrible. Anyway, we currently have the order of Zelenkovic, Scyther, Yannick Schmidt, Dembski, and Marples, your top 5. Very close between the top 4 at least. Definitely still a battle for first, and then a bit further back, Ben Marples in P5.
Yeah, I do feel like right now, it's gone from a 3-way fight to now a 4-way fight, which is really what we want to see. And here's something interesting, is I've just been looking at some of the previous social race results, and this is the first time we've had a 4-way fight for the lead from 4 different constructors, which is just a small and very insignificant subject, but it's just interesting. But as we see, Yannick Schmidt actually struggling for rear grip, it looks like. But here comes Scyther again on the straight. He's gotten Zelenkovic even earlier than Zelenkovic got Scyther last time. So definitely, it looks like Scyther has better straight line speed, as there's a move further back happening, which I want to get a little look on, and it's already been made before I can look.
Jack Humphreys and the Haas of Dehar I'm calling him Dehar. But Dehar does get P12 for now.
One driver that I've been looking at is Louis Welch. I know he had his issue and he sort of got hit in the rear and he really struggled, but he's really struggling to make his way back through the grid. It just seems like it's like he doesn't seem to have sufficient pace over the drivers in front. It seems like, looking at the lap times, there only seems to be around half a second dividing first to 14th in the lap times, so that it's very close.
Yeah, it is a very close grid, so I mean, if you're falling behind, it's very difficult to make the moves again. Meanwhile, in front, Scyther's made quite a gap to Timo Zelenkovic. I say 5/10. It's quite a big gap compared to what it's been before, 6/10 even. And that's all one lap, so I don't know, potentially Timo's struggling a little bit. I mean, it's only 7/10. He'll make that all up with DRS, so I don't know how big of a deal it is, but that is definitely something to note. Scyther showing he's got a lot of pace, potentially thinking about boxing soon. Pit window opens in about 4 laps time, so definitely something to note. I'm going to turn it down because it's very loud for me, just a little bit.
So, looking at a bit of close action going on between Yannick Schmidt and Zelenkovic. Yannick Schmidt almost just hit into the back of Zelenkovic, very close there. 5 meters, 5 meters later on the brakes, and there would have been contact, which would have been fun, not for the drivers, but for us. Honestly, it's quite close, because if you look a little bit further back, just a little bit further back, between the two McLarens of Liam Stevens and Wilson Hall, these two have been going each other for a very long time. Wilson Hall has been stuck behind Liam Stevens for quite a bit longer. But the interesting thing here is they're both setting lap times that are only around 200ths difference per lap. And it goes back and forth between them. So it's very close. Even though Wilson Hall has DRS. And so that is a clear show. But if you actually look at their ERS, Liam Stevens is below 10% and Wilson Hall has below 20% ERS. So there's not much ERS between them. And that is actually a subject I want to get onto here, is that ERS and saving it is so important around this track, because you have the long straights. You need to get the exits really well, and having that ERS to use really makes it strong to be able to use overtake a bit, as we are actually seeing with drivers like Scyther, who's using his overtake to stay ahead. And I feel like this could be an important phase of the race where some drivers are trying to save ERS, some drivers are pushing though, like Scyther is at the moment. I think at the moment, the only driver who seems to not be pushing with ERS is Yannick Schmidt. He's the only one who's barely used ERS to keep up with drivers, although he is using it now. And it's quite interesting as there's a move further back. Jack Humphreys on Dehar for P12. Very nice move from Jack Humphreys, but he's going to be attacked again by the Haas of Dehar onto the straight. It's side by side into turn 4, still close. Louis Welch gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, and Dehar just stays in front. For the moment, though, as Jack Humphreys, of course, wants to make the position back.
Yep. In the meantime, Yannick Schmidt, you mentioned having to use DRS. Now he's nearly out of that range of 1 second. Drake Dempsey also has had to use DRS, but he's not got too much left, and he's also nearly out of this DRS. So he's really going to want to try and get a move on to not fall too far back in the race. In the meantime, the top two are still right down each other's throats. We'll just compare the DRS very quickly. Timo Zelenkovic with about 40% compared to Scyther's 25%. So
Around 20% gap.
Yeah, it's about 20% gap. It is quite a lot. Definitely something to note, but I mean the pit stops are going to be happening soon. If you want to go for the undercut this lap now that we've just started, this is a lap that you want to box Timo Zelenkovic from very far back, not even using battery, down the inside of Scyther, clearly looking like a rocket ship, like the Red Bull in real life. That's adding a bit of realism into this league racing. Meanwhile, Scyther trying to get the DRS open again, and he's already alongside before the sponsor boards, going side by side into turn 4 once again. Timo Zelenkovic is going to back out. He's not going to want to fight it. We have a yellow flag in sector 1, and I believe that is Bogdan Moldovan, who is spun around. Very unfortunate for him. Meanwhile, back at the front, it's a very close battle between the top 3, going through the S's into the heavy braking zone of turn 8.
Zelenkovic has just made a big mistake through the right-hander. That he almost just lost that position to Yannick Schmidt there, as we've actually had the first driver to pit in this race on time for strategy, and that is Ben Marples. He was on the mediums.
Hoping for an undercut then.
Remember? Yeah, definitely, but he is on the hards for the rest of the race now.
Yep.
So although those hards might work better than the mediums at the end of the race, it depends when this lot are going to stop, because the hards are said to last around 20 laps, even at 50% race distances. It's set to be around 20 laps of race distance you can get on the hard, so we could be seeing some drivers try to go for soft, and especially this year with how tyres last longer, that will be a very important thing in this race. But just looking at the lap times lately, we've seen Drake Dempsey close up again, but it almost seems like this lot are all very close, as we see Zelenkovic again into turn 1, side by side this time, so it's a lot closer into turn 1. Scyther holding it. He's going to have the inside for the next corner. They're still side by side. Scyther's not going to get DRS though. Zelenkovic is. Very interesting there. All round the outside, Scyther's still trying to hold it. As Yannick Schmidt, oh my god, that was one big slide from Scyther. He's lost a lot of time to Zelenkovic. Maybe just trying to pressure Zelenkovic a bit too much, and maybe he's just pressured himself a little bit too much with into turn 4, or out of turn 4, I should say. But this has just allowed Drake Dempsey to close all the way back up. But we're starting to see little groups here, aren't we? We're starting to see this little group of Wilson Hall. We're seeing the top 4, and then Wilson Hall, Liam Stevens, and Milan Meyer, who has caught up. Then we got Louis Welch in P8, who's had a nice comeback. Who's all alone at the moment, in his own little world, shall we say?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's very much.
In the meantime, Timo Zelenkovic is coming to finish this lap, and the pit window is open. So, are we going to see some potential pit stops starting now? I think I might have fixed the CPU issue. I've got the numbers next to me, and it looks to be a lot better. I had the audio quality on high, but anyway, hopefully that's good now. Timo Zelenkovic does pit in. He does go very late. Drake Dempsey copies him, follows him as well. But we're gonna hope for a good pit stop for Timo Zelenkovic now. Hopefully he got the turn in right. There's not gonna be errors, but hopefully he got the turn in right, and he does. Oh, he's waiting quite a while before he gets going in. Oh, might be a bit of lag. Drake Dempsey also in the pit box, gets away nicely. Oscar Villacampa retires from the race. Unfortunate for him. But all the pressure is now on Scyther. Can he get a good outlap? Because the undercut is so powerful on this game. So he's going to want to hope that he doesn't get affected by it too much. Going on this lap now. Sorry, I'll turn the audio up again because it's quite quiet. In the meantime, though, yeah, we'll follow along with Scyther. There's a yellow flag in the first sector. I think that might have been someone spun around, but they've all got going again now.
It was Villacampa, because he's retiring. But of course, the AI don't retire in the pits, which is a bit annoying.
Yep. So
But
Scyther and Yannick Schmidt now very close together. They can't afford to fight because they're going to lose so much time, especially because they're going to lose so much time as it is. They don't want to lose any more. So Yannick Schmidt and Scyther, have they done enough to potentially stay ahead? Are they even going to pit this lap? Could they potentially try hard to softs? We saw Jana want me to try that yesterday, but wasn't successful. Had to go for the mediums in the end. I don't think they're going to last too long, but Scyther going around the final corner now. Is he going to pit? I'm going to assume he is. I think it would be a not very wise move to stay out. He does go into the pits. Oh, he dummies and stays out. Scyther stays out another lap. Yannick Schmidt goes into the pits. So we'll see where Timo Zelenkovic comes out in comparison and Drake Dempsey. But Scyther chooses to stay out, which really surprises me, given how powerful the undercut is. But he dummied Yannick Schmidt into pitting.
it's not as strong this
Mind you,
year.
I don't know if it's not. Ooh.
No, it's.
But here's Timo Zelenkovic. Does come out ahead as we expected due to the powerful undercut. So does Drake Dempsey also. And I think that's Ben Marples as well overtaking. But I don't know if Ben Marples is boxed or not. But anyway, Yannick Schmidt is quite far behind now. He's going to have a bit of an effort if he wants to catch up again. In the meantime, Scyther, I'm amazed to see what he's planning. I'm amazed to see what he's going to try and do because he's chosen to stay out. This could be very risky.
His pace lap, I've just looked at his lap time, was actually faster still
Really?
than Zelenkovic. Yeah, he went, although it was only about a tenth and a half, he still, and it wasn't the outlap for Zelenkovic either.
Wow.
Which shows that possibly he's finding a bit more tire life in his tires. Of course, he wasn't running in dirty air.
If he's potentially saved his tires before, and he's going on now, he could be fine. I mean, I don't know. I'm really intrigued to see because if I were him, I would have boxed 2 laps ago. But then again, that's why I'm not driving and I'm here commentating. But Scyther, is he going to pull into the pits this time round? No, he's staying out again. So this makes me think he's potentially trying to go hard softs, which is very risky because, I mean, the DRS is so powerful that if you're not in it, it's kind of hard to catch up. But, I mean, with the tyre difference, maybe it's possible. But in the meantime, Liam Stevens comes into the pits. Lou Welsh is still out, so I mean he's doing a comeback. He's also got a time penalty, so potentially he's going to try and go as long as possible as well.
Yeah, those softs, like you said, are going to be powerful, but there's a move going on between Ben Marples and Yannick Schmidt. I'm going to say something about Ben Marples here. I'm a bit disappointed in his performance today. He was doing really well. He was up there in P4, now he's P6.
I think he was the one who started on the mediums, and he's gone for hards. He did a massive undercut, and he's now gained quite a lot of time from that, and he's now fighting with these guys, but he's on the slower tyre. We can see the position change there. He has gained 3 positions, so he's not done horribly. The strategy is, I think, definitely helped him. So, yeah.
Helped him slightly, but this is where he's going to start to find lose time. Guys like Wilson Hall and Liam Stevens, because they weren't too strong on the hards, but when we looked in qualifying, they were quite strong on softer tyres, because quite shockingly, Wilson Hall actually did a run on mediums, and he was up there fighting sort of midfield, so definitely he's definitely quite quick on the mediums. So that could be something that might hurt Ben Marples, as we do actually at the moment see the time already crumbling down by about half a second this lap alone. But Scyther's finally in the pits. In this race. It's taken him a while, but he is in the pits.
As for mediums, so why did he stay out? That's a very good question. To be fair, yesterday, Jarno did this exact same thing, and he ended up gaining so much time at the end, so maybe that's the kind of thing he's going for. We'll
he's
see.
Quite far behind, though.
Yeah, he's very far behind. I mean, that's put him fighting for the win to now fighting for a podium now. I mean, that's going to be difficult to get. There's 4 seconds of a gap there. That's going to be very difficult. In the meantime, at the front, Yannick Schmidt is just behind the 1 second gap. Was Yannick saving earlier? I think, was he the one who was saving his battery?
I think so, yeah.
I think so. So now, that's going to give him a chance. Yeah, he's got a bit more battery than Timo Zelenkovic. He's going to be able to use that now to try and get back into the DRS. Let's hope so. As he goes into turn 10. He's not going to have the DRS this time around, but you can see how close he is. He does seem to be faster than Timo Zelenkovic this lap, because I think it was on about 1.5 seconds, so he's already gained half a second. He is currently under the 1 second gap. I assume battery use has heavily helped him. But that's a really good gain for Yannick Schmidt and looking really pacey on these mediums. So potentially before he was just kind of sat in the train, you know, hoping just to stick with them. And, you know, now that's paying off because we can see he is a real driver with real pace. So
Yeah,
he is going to have DRS.
I do have to give a big shout out to Drake Dempsey. He was struggling at one point. He was P7 or P8. Now he's found himself P3 and fighting for a podium. He's quite far ahead of Ben Marples and far ahead of Scyther. This could be good. This could be good for Aston Martin. You know, one Aston Martin has struggled and is 11th. The other is 3rd and fighting for podium. We're almost looking at a 2023 real-life F1 scenario here. But honestly, it's going to be close still because Drake Dempsey, he's keeping up with these guys. And that's something that I did not expect because on the hards, he was really struggling to keep up with them. Now he is pulling slightly faster than them through like Sector 1 and Sector 2. Although he's going slightly faster. Ooh, big mistake from Yannick Schmidt as I just saw that. But yeah, Drake Dempsey is really, in my opinion, he's starting to look like the favourite for the victory.
Yeah, that's potentially. I think I would swing it more towards Schmidt or Zelenkovic, because I feel like Schmidt is currently in the driving seat because he can pass when he wants, and timing is so important. You want to be doing it on like the last lap. You want to be in 2nd place and do it down the start-finish straight, I'd say. So yeah, he also shows he's got a lot of pace. Yeah, but I mean, it works, to be honest. So it's definitely something to consider. Yeah, I think Zelenkovic is going to have to try and save his battery now and just save it to defend, because I think he doesn't really have to use it because he can just rely on the fact that Yannick Schmidt is not very likely to go for a move because then he won't really be in the driving seat. I say that, but he does it very close now. But no, he does back out, so I think that kind of shows my theory. In the meantime, Scyther has gained already 2 seconds to Ben Marples, so that's a good gain for him. Looking at
and there
P4.
goes Miller Meyer on Jack Humphreys. I've got to give it to Jack Humphreys. He's P9 now. This guy was fighting for 13th or 14th. Now he's P9. And he's back in with a chance of... Although it is only a social race.
Yeah.
He's still back in with points, though.
Yeah.
And I will give him that. He's definitely come back through in this race. Same with Miller Meyer as well. He was really struggling at the start. Especially in qualifying. You know, he's 16th. Now he's up there in 8th. And he's fighting with Liam Stevens. And possibly after that, Wilson Hall. Which will be a big one to fight because I know Wilson Hall, he can defend really well. So there's still battles going on other than the front. They're happening in the midfield as well, and that's going to be possibly one of the most interesting areas on track on top of that.
Yeah. So, in the meantime, actually, Miller Meyer, again, looking like he wants to make a move or two. Not quite able to do it in the lovely looking Mercedes car. Absolutely lovely livery, I've got to say. But in the meantime, at the front, we do still have this same top 3. Scyther, a bit further back in P5, is in the DRS of Ben Marples. He's going to want to clear him, and he's only got 9 laps to make about 4 seconds, 4-5 seconds on the guys ahead. It's going to be difficult, especially because they're in a DRS train. They're all on Timo Zelenkovic's pace. I don't know if you want to look at the lap times and just compare Scyther and Timo, since neither of them had DRS recently. But that's definitely something to look at to see how fast they are, you know, compared to each other.
So it does look like Scyther is currently going about 3/10 faster, 3/10 to half a second faster as he makes a move, actually, as I've just seen that while I'm looking at the times on Ben Marples. But there he goes. It wasn't much of a fight, really. I don't think Ben Marples could have really fought that much more than he did. But Scyther currently is putting in about lap times about half a second faster than Drake Dempsey. But he is also going around on the last lap. He went a second faster than Zelenkovic.
Wow.
So he's definitely pulling in some time. But still, it just seems like these mediums aren't pulling out the top lap times that the hards were. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how it goes, because Scyther, what he's got to do now is he's got to save some EOS. He's got to do a big push. But you can see that he is actually closing up to Drake Dempsey. He's already closed up by about 4/10 this lap alone to Drake Dempsey. And that's closing up quite a bit, although he doesn't have many laps, as we see that actually comes down a lot more, down to 6/10 now. He can see the cars now in the distance, so he is closing up a lot, but the straights are going to be where he loses a lot of time, obviously.
Yeah.
And that could be quite difficult. But
Yeah.
there's a move. Yannick Schmidt on Zelenkovic for the lead. Possibly you might be right. Ooh, almost contact between Drake Dempsey and Zelenkovic, but
Oh my god, Timo Slankovic goes off track there, just misjudges his steering, and he's just lost lots of time in a position to Drake Dempsey. He just didn't turn the wheel. I'm not sure if maybe a wheel issue or something, but he just went straight on over the curb. That is very unfortunate for him and completely take him out of... I mean, he's gone from controlling this race to now fighting to get back into the DRS of Yannick Schmidt. I mean, who in the meantime, I assume is going to try and use his battery to try and break that 1 second gap since he's just seen what's happened. So Yannick Schmidt, in the driving seat now of this race, he's got a big gap. It's going to close down again as we get to DRS, but that is a big mistake for Timo Slankovic, and that's completely changed the dynamic of this race.
Yeah, definitely. Just looking further back to Miller Meyer, he made the move on Liam Stevens. And you know what I saw?
What?
The both McLarens into turn 4 collided. Wilson Hall hitting into the back of Liam Stevens. There seems to have been also a swap between Wilson Hall and Liam Stevens, because Liam Stevens has now gotten ahead of Wilson Hall. But Miller Meyer seems to have won it more out of anybody else, as we see Louis Welch get another 3-second penalty. But yeah, it looks like Miller Meyer won out of all three of them the most, as he's now up 10 places in this race. But he's just made up 2 places within 1 lap. And that's just kind of proving that it seems like it was sort of midway through McLaren making their swap between the 2 drivers for race position, that Miller Meyer just seemed to come out of nowhere and just outbreak both of them. And so that's quite important. But talking about important race times, Drake Dempsey, outside of second now. This is worrying. This is very worrying. It might all be going wrong for my prediction of Drake Dempsey.
Yeah, I mean, Yannick Schmidt, I think, has just performed an absolute masterclass. He's looked at the situation, and he's able to capitalise it, getting that pace down. Timo Slankovic needs to get a move on and overtake immediately if he wants any chance of getting back into the DRS of Yannick Schmidt, which he's only got 6 laps left. It's going to be incredibly difficult. So yeah, yeah.
Scyther's performing a miracle. We said he wouldn't catch up by the end of this race, or he'd just catch up. This guy's already gotten it back down.
He's not far off. He's not far off at all.
He's closed up a lot more than it wasn't just that incident with Zelenkovic going off in turn 2. It just seems like he's just really been catching, because that only got him about half a second closer, but he's found 2 seconds in the space of about 2-3 laps. So he's really found a lot of time. And it just seems like these 2 in front are too slow for him, and I suspect he might clear them incredibly quickly.
Yep, we'll see. It's getting a lot more tense now as we get towards the end of the race. Timo Slankovic looking so close to the back of Drake Dempsey. We're going to have to see, is he able to make a move? He's going to want to do it as quickly as possible. As he goes towards turn 4, he's not able to make a move yet. Maybe he's choosing not to. I'm not 100% sure. But that's going to be very... It's a big job. It's a big ask. But he's going to have to try and do it. And he's going to have to try and make up that time if he wants any chance of winning this race. Drake Dempsey is maintaining the 1.5, 1.6 second gap to Yannick Schmidt now. So not as worrying for him at the moment. Maybe for Timo Slankovic at least. I mean, it definitely seems to be struggling, but Scyther is on borderline DRS, so potentially, I mean, there's still 5 laps left. If he can clip these guys quickly, Scyther may have just pulled off a strategic masterclass if he's able to win this race. It's definitely to look out for.
8 tenths in 1 lap.
Wow.
Also, he's on low ERS. The fact that he's barely using ERS and he's going, half a second, a lap faster on average, as I'm seeing here with his lap times, just is almost proving why I think he's going to win. Because on the last lap, he might have closed up to Zelenkovic by a second, but he's closed up to Yannick Schmidt by 8 tenths. And there goes Zelenkovic, finally on Drake Dempsey. Contact between the 2. Drake Dempsey too late on the brakes and hits into the back of Zelenkovic. And all of this is just allowing Scyther to close back up. And here comes Drake Dempsey. Is he going to go for the move? No, he's not. Oh, he's going a bit deep. Has he got wing damage? He might have wing damage. I'm not sure. But
Let's hope not.
Scyther's now within a second. So this is big.
Yeah, this is just helped Yannick Schmidt so much with a 2.5 second gap. That's exactly what he's going to have wanted, and he's really in the driving seat now. He's just got to keep up the pace. Scyther needs to clear these cars quickly. Timo Zelenkovic needs to get a move on if he wants to try and take Yannick Schmidt back. It's going to take a monumental task, though, for anyone to dethrone Yannick Schmidt from this P1. Yeah, this German in the Williams just trying his best to just keep calm and keep these places. It's gonna be difficult. We'll see what he's able to do.
I do feel though that Drake Dempsey really needs something, because we've seen Scyther when he's been on the attack today. He's really been aggressive, especially on the brakes. He's been braking later than everybody. And although this lap he hasn't closed up as much as he would have wanted, they are now into a DRS train. I think what Scyther's waiting for is Dempsey to make a move.
The one thing I do want to note is the difference in ERS levels. Timo Zelenkovic has got so much battery. Oh, as Drake Dempsey misses his braking point, goes quite wide just a little bit. But Timo Zelenkovic has got about 20% more than all the cars around him, which is quite important. But he needs to start using that. There's only 3 laps left, and he's not going to make it at this rate. I mean, the gap's 2.2. He's closing, but he's not closing quick enough. If he starts using battery, it's definitely not impossible.
Yeah, 4/10 at the moment. He's closed up. Oh, Yannick Schmidt is below 10% ERS and still using it. This could be intelligent from Zelenkovic, just saving and waiting for Schmidt to use all of his ERS. And now Zelenkovic is closing at rather a rapid rate. 0.3 a lap alone.
Yeah.
This might work. This might actually. I think we're going to be taking back what we said. I'm going to have to apologise to this man.
No, I agree.
Drake Dempsey, though, he is under attack from Scyther.
I have to say... Oh, what? Oh, that's not good. I have to say, I don't understand what Zelenkovic is doing, saving his ERS. I feel like if he had used it, he could really have got to Schmidt. I think he's now focused... Yeah, but I think he's accepted that he's not going to win, and I think that's why he's now just focusing on defending, which is fair enough. In the meantime, you might have to use that for the defending as Drake Dempsey goes down the inside of Timo Zelenkovic into turn 1. And he's going to try and get the position going side by side. Scyther is also there trying to get position, but Drake Dempsey is not going to be able to do it yet, but he tries to get the power down, he tries to get the switch back. He's got the DRS open, going round the outside of turn 4, and the Scyther's trying to go 3 wide, but he's has to back out. But Drake Dempsey going around Timo Zelenkovic, and meanwhile Scyther is also going down the inside of Timo Zelenkovic. He's just made a lovely move in the meantime, but he does lose out to Timo Zelenkovic in the end, so Drake Dempsey does inherit P2 from Timo Zelenkovic, who is just ahead of Scyther. So Scyther really showing that he's willing to stick his nose in to wherever it matters. So definitely something to look out for.
It just seemed like he was side by side with Zelenkovic going into the long right-left hander just after sector 2. But it just seemed like he just didn't want to risk it, and I don't blame him. He's on for a podium here, so he's fighting for a possible P2. I would take P2 any day, if I'm being honest. So there's definitely I have to say there seems to be a lot more possibly on Scyther's and Drake Dempsey's shoulders than for Zelenkovic, because for him, he's lost that pole, he's lost out that lead of the race, and he's struggled. And so I feel like with Zelenkovic, it almost feels like he's sort of given up hope almost on battling over P2, because it just seems like he's not really committing a move into a corner. It's like he's going a bit safe, but here he comes on straight, and there he goes, but still, he's not able to get ahead of Drake Dempsey enough. Scyther, I just see that Alpine just sitting and waiting behind to make a move. Here comes Drake Dempsey. Is he going to make a move? No, he isn't. I think he's waiting till the last lap, if I'm being honest. I think these guys are waiting till the last lap where nobody can then make a move on them. I think if lap 29, turn 1, I promise you, there's going to be a 3 wide moment. I promise you that. So, going
Sorry, yep.
down.
Timo
You're
Zenkovic
completely
had just
fine.
a massive rear lockup. Sorry, I had to mute for a second, but in the meantime, he had a rear lockup going into turn 10, which put him off slightly. That allowed Drake Dempsey to try and overtake, and he's really looking like he's struggling for tyre grip. So potentially Drake staying out that extra lap has really helped him towards the end, because he's looking like he's in a real good position in terms of tyres, which is exactly what he's going to want. So we'll see going towards this last corner. But now is the time to make the moves. We'll see, can Scyther, can Drake Dempsey fight for P2? It's now's the time to do it. Timo Zenkovic tries to break the slipstream, but there's not much you're going to be able to do as Drake Dempsey tries to defend. But Drake Dempsey, sorry, not tries to defend, tries to overtake, but he's not really gone for it, so he's going for the second DRS zone. Timo Zenkovic has used all his DRS, but now is the time. If you didn't do it then, you have to do it now. There's no way you're going to make a move if it isn't now. So he's going to have the DRS open. He's deploying all of the battery, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. You can see how far back he is, and he's not going to be able to make the move. In the meantime, Scyther is also looking too far back to make any move, and none of them have any battery. So none of them are really going to be able to try and make a move, so fair enough to Timo Zenkovic. What we said before about saving his ERS is clearly coming to clutch, clearly proving why I'm in the commentary box and not down there. Because clearly that ERS has helped Timo Zenkovic secure second place. So, I mean, at the moment at least, we still have half a lap to go. But it does clearly have a big effect. In the meantime, can anyone else challenge Timo Zenkovic? This is the last DRS straight. It's not the last part of the track where you're going to make a move. You still have until the last corner. We'll see if he is able to do anything as we go through this last sector. The time to find time is now as we go towards the penultimate corner for Drake Dempsey. He's not going to be close enough to make a move. I don't think Scyther's going to be close enough to make a move either. So that does look like that's going to be your finishing position. But in the meantime, Yannick Schmidt has done a strategic masterclass. He's done a pace masterclass. He just missed out on pole, but he's going to secure the race win. In the social race, Yannick Schmidt wins Lobby 2 of the social races in Bahrain. What a win. Timo Zenkovic gets P2, Drake Dempsey P3, Scyther P4, Ben Marples P5, Liam Stevens P6, Mayer P7, Hall P8, and Humphries P8. Hall gets a penalty, I think that's why he's in 9. Oh, sorry, Welsh got P9. Wilson Hall gets P10. And then Dehar gets P10. Never mind, sorry, I didn't know how big that penalty was. And it looks like Bogdan Moldovan will get 12th, Goji 13th, and Kryptonite gets 14th. So, what a race. What a race, for sure. What an ending. Very tense. I believe we will do interviews.
Oh no, I've just realised something. Wilson Hall just DNF'd just before the line, and so he's lost out position.
Oof. That's unfortunate.
Painful.
Who was third? Drake Dempsey. So, that is going to be your race. And we'll see your race winner walking onto the podium. There is... Oh, sorry, Yannick Schmidt, there is your winner. And it's 2 Jan Ortmans, 1 and 2. It was a really good drive. You can't fault the second stint at all. Yeah, a great drive from him, completely.
Yeah, Yannick Schmidt. I didn't think he would win it, but I've got to give it to him. He was on... He was on something else. He almost did, to me, he almost did a bit of a sort of Max Verstappen drive, you know, at the last moment, the unexpected moment, he came through and, you know, got it, you know, got the win in the last moments. But that's very important, and I've got to give it to the German. He pulled off a race that, honestly, I did not expect to happen.
Yeah, definitely. It was, I mean, considering... for literally the first 3 quarters of quali, he was in 17th, and then just narrowly missed out on pole, and then drove a great race. So yeah, a very, very good job to him.
So, rundown?
I mean, we do have Drake Dempsey in the waiting room. I don't know if anyone else will. Hang on, just sort that out. I'll drag Drake Dempsey in. Yo, Drake. Congratulations. How was the race for you? Did it go to plan?
Eh, that's my honest reaction to that. Eh.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, you did seem to be in a good position in the first stint, and then the second stint, Yannick just got away from you a bit. And any insight into that part?
That was an interesting move on lap 1 going to turn 10. I won't say who, but you probably know because of well, the on stream. Regardless, battery wasn't ideal that entire race after that because we had to catch up.
Yeah.
Tag team type of things, but I mean, just get the track out of the way kind of sucked, but it was enjoyable. Learn new things, but honestly, never want to do that track again.
Fair enough. I mean, yeah, it's a new game. It's a good opportunity. How do you feel about the season coming up? Do you think you're in a good position?
I think I'm in an alright position depending on how it develops. As long as they don't ruin it like they did last game.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Do you like this game? Do you think it's good for your driving style?
I think it's alright. I think I just need to put in more hours because of last game's little slump.
Yeah.
It's all confusing right now, but it'll all peek around the corner at some point.
Yeah, fair enough. Epic, anything you want to say?
How did you feel when you were fighting for the win, and then what sort of happened to that? You fighting for the win because you dropped back quite a bit, and it just seemed like you couldn't keep up. What was sort of happening in those moments?
Absolutely amazing straight line speed. I don't know. I just wasn't really comfortable with the track itself. I think as setups develop, it'll get better, but it was just an off track for me. Probably there's Las Vegas, Monaco, and then Bahrain right now.
Fair enough. I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, thank you very much for joining us. I hope to see you very soon. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Well, that is going to be the end of it. Thank you guys very much for watching. I do have to say a very big apologies for the stream issues, but I did manage to sort them out, so that is a good sign for the future. So I thank you all very much for watching. Epic, have you got any final words?
No, not really. I have no words about that race. It was brilliant. It was great commentating alongside you.
You too.
As hopefully it will always be. But yeah, just thank you to the drivers as well. I mean, without them, I don't think we would be commentators. But yeah, overall, just thank you to everybody, whether you were watching racing or just you commentating. Overall, very happy, and I'm just super excited for the season to come.
Yeah, well, make sure you guys tune in to F1 next Wednesday, and then the tiers when they start later on this year. I'm not sure the exact date, so I can't give you that. But thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
He's got the inside off here, he's through on the left hand side. Pumps the apex, gets on the power nicely, and that is job done. Jarno Opmeer now to the last couple of corners now. His finest drive, his greatest drive, and he's done it at the Circuit of the Americas. He returns to the top step of the podium once again. The GOAT is back.